Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to, well, get past the headlines, look at the sources, and really figure out what's going on.
Yeah, we try to dig a little deeper, find those connections, maybe those aha moments you don't get from just scrolling.
Exactly. And today, we're taking a deep dive into something quite sensitive, actually. It's a piece of recent news that's touched a lot of people. It highlights, I think, the impact of a life, well-lived, but also a really tough battle, bravely fought.
Mm.
We're focusing on the passing of Katie Slaton. Now, many of you might recognize that name. She's the cousin of Amy and Tammy Slaton from TLC's 1,000-Pound Sisters.
Right.
And our sources today, they really lay out the details of her life, her illness, and importantly, the huge wave of love and support from her family and community.
Yeah, and what's really interesting here, I think, beyond just the sad news itself, is looking at how these individual stories, especially when they touch the public sphere a bit, can reflect these really universal themes, resilience, family, community, grief. So our mission today, if you like, is sort of look beyond that surface level to appreciate the human experience underneath it all, how one person's journey resonates, and how people pull together in these incredibly difficult times. It tells us a lot, actually.
It really does. So let's get straight into it, though it's difficult. The core fact is that Katie Slaton has passed away. She
Yeah.
was cousin to Amy and Tammy Slaton, as we mentioned, from 1,000-Pound Sisters, and she was just 37 years old. So young.
Incredibly young. And this happened after a really intense 8-month fight against stage 4 stomach cancer.
Yet an 8-month battle. It feels so quick.
It is incredibly quick. And to give a bit more detail on the illness, the specific diagnosis was stage 4 gastric adenocarcinoma. Now, stage 4 basically means the cancer had already spread quite far from the stomach when it was found. That makes it really aggressive, very challenging to treat.
Right.
And this type, gastric adenocarcinoma, it's actually a rarer form of stomach cancer. To see it progress so fast, especially in someone so young, it's particularly devastating.
And the timeline. Diagnosed right at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, early 2025. So that whole fight, that 8 months, was just incredibly concentrated, incredibly intense. Her passing was then confirmed publicly on August 26th by Amanda Halterman, who is Amy and Tammy's sister.
Mm-hmm.
That quick time frame, diagnosis to passing, it just underlines how relentless this kind of illness can be, the toll it takes. Physically, emotionally, it's immense.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when the news comes directly from a family member like Amanda, it just lands differently, doesn't it?
It really does.
Her sharing it publicly, sharing her own sorrow, it gave it this immediate personal weight. You felt like you were grieving alongside them in a way.
Definitely. It kind of bypasses the official announcements and gives you that direct window into their heartbreak.
But, to really understand the loss, we need to talk about Katie herself, who she was. And Amanda Halterman's Instagram post from August 26th. Wow, it shared some really heartfelt words.
Wow.
Painted such a vivid picture.
Yeah, I saw that.
She started with, it is with a completely crushed heart and spirit that I have to post this. And then my little cousin went to sit at the feet of Jesus yesterday.
Oh, raw.
So raw. And then these phrases that really stick with you. Like, she was a force to be reckoned with and showed love that was accepting and given freely. And this one, she was the life of the party and my best friend.
Wow, life of the party. That says so much.
It really does. And Amanda also asked for prayers, for everyone who loved Katie, which points to their faith, their need for that community support right now.
It's clear from those words, isn't it? Katie wasn't just, a family member. She was this central, vibrant person.
Yeah.
When you hear forced to be reckoned with and life of the party, that paints a picture of someone strong, spirited, bringing energy and joy.
Yeah.
And it makes you think, how does anyone process losing someone like that? Someone who was so clearly cherished, so full of life. It seems obvious her absence is going to be felt incredibly deeply across her whole circle. And you get the sense that strength of character probably shone through in her fight, too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Those tributes are so powerful. And then looking beyond those personal words, her online obituary added a few more details, little things about her interests.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
You mentioned she enjoyed fishing, she loves music, and just, hanging out with family and friends. Simple pleasures.
Right. The everyday stuff.
Yeah, and it's easy sometimes, especially with a family connected to a reality show, to focus on the public side. But these details, they remind you of the private person, the relatable joys.
It grounds her story, doesn't it? Makes it very human, very real, despite that public connection. Because she did appear on 1,000-Pound Sisters a few times with her cousins.
She did.
Yeah.
How do you think that, appearing on the show, how did that maybe factor into things? Her identity or how people saw her?
Well, that's an interesting layer, right? She wasn't a main star like Amy or Tammy, but those appearances, even brief ones, they give viewers glimpses of her personality, her place in the family. So for the audience, it creates a kind of familiarity.
Makes sense.
And that familiarity, it can definitely amplify the emotional impact when something like this happens. It means her passing isn't just a private tragedy for the family. It resonates with this wider community who feel like they sort of knew a piece of her.
So the public profile kind of broadens the circle of grief.
Exactly. And then those personal details from the obituary, the fishing, the music, they become even more poignant. They show the real person behind those TV moments.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So those details paint a picture of her life, but then, as we said, came the diagnosis at the start of this year, stage 4 gastric adenocarcinoma.
Right. A battle that, right from the get-go, everyone knew would be incredibly tough, given how advanced and aggressive it was.
But even so, there seemed to be a moment of hope, didn't there?
Yes, and that's so important in these situations, holding on to that. In February, Katie's partner, Natalie Bailey, she shared an update on Facebook. She confirmed Katie had started chemo, which was positive news in itself.
Okay.
But significantly, Natalie also mentioned that Katie's symptoms with her cancer seemed to improve.
Oh, wow, that must have felt huge.
Absolutely huge. Even if it turned out to be temporary, that little period of improvement, it would have offered so much encouragement, a real flicker of hope. For anyone going through something so relentless, any positive sign, any easing of symptoms, it's like a lifeline. It fuels that resilience, that will to fight for everyone involved.
And you could feel that hope was really boosted by the support around them.
Yeah.
Natalie's post also had this deep gratitude in it.
Yes.
She said, "Both our families have been so great throughout this whole process. We could not get through this without you. Thank you, everyone, for the thoughts and prayers. #KatieStrong."
#KatieStrong, yeah. It really shows just how vital that network is, doesn't it? The practical help, the emotional support.
Totally. And speaking of practical help, around that time, when Katie was first diagnosed, Amanda Halterman, her cousin, and Amanda's partner, Leonard Moore, they set up a GoFundMe campaign.
Right, the GoFundMe.
And when we talk about something like cancer, it's not just the emotional toll, is it? The financial side can be just crippling. Why does something like a GoFundMe become so essential?
Oh, absolutely essential. The financial burden of stage 4 cancer is often just astronomical, even if you have insurance. You've got the direct costs, chemo, hospital stays, maybe surgeries, but then there's all the indirect stuff.
Like what?
Well, lost wages, for starters. Katie likely couldn't work. Family members might need time off work to help out, to drive to appointments, travel costs, maybe accommodation if treatment centers are far away, childcare for her kids, Landon, Liam, and Lily, even things like special food sometimes. It all adds up incredibly fast.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So a GoFundMe, it's not just about covering bills. It's about providing a safety net, some breathing room, reducing that immense financial stress so the family can focus on care, not just finances.
That really puts it into perspective. And Amanda's message on the GoFundMe page, it captured that so well. It wasn't just about the money itself.
What did it say?
She wrote, "This isn't just about money. It's about showing love, care, and hope for someone who truly needs it right now."
That's powerful. Hits the nail on the head.
Yeah, it made it clear the purpose was layered. Yes, help with expenses, but also just providing that emotional relief, showing Katie she wasn't alone in this.
Exactly. And that's what's so fascinating, how the financial support and the emotional support just weave together. They create this stronger safety net. Research actually shows this, that combination of practical help, like the money, and that feeling of community solidarity, it really boosts resilience.
Right,
it's not just the dollars, it's the message behind it. We care, we're here, we're sharing this burden. That provides comfort, dignity. It's invaluable.
It really is a testament to community spirit.
Absolutely. A powerful example of people stepping up.
And Amanda really drove home Katie's own fighting spirit in that message, too. She ended it with, "Katie is a fighter, and with your help, we can make sure she feels the support and love she deserves."
Yeah. Honoring her strength, even while asking for help. It's about unity, isn't it? Facing adversity together.
So looking at the bigger picture now, what does this all mean for her family, her friends, everyone touched by her story? How does a loss like this ripple outwards?
The impact is just Immense and
Yeah.
incredibly widespread. You see it just in the list of survivors from her obituary. It mentions her parents, Jerry and Frances Slaton, her partner, Natalie Bailey, and her 3 children, Landon, Liam, and Lily.
Oh, the children, so young.
Exactly. Losing a parent at that age is just unthinkable. It shapes everything. Then for Natalie, losing her partner, for her parents, the agony of losing a child, and beyond that immediate circle, it mentioned a host of nieces, nephews, aunts, and uncles. It really paints a picture of this extensive web of relationships. Each of those connections represents a unique loss, a different kind of grief. It just underscores how many lives one person touches and how deeply that absence is felt across generations.
It's a stark reminder, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also, as we touched on this, it's a slightly unusual situation with the family being partly in the public eye.
Right, because of the show.
That public connection, it must amplify things. Maybe the grief feels more shared somehow, but maybe the support feels bigger too.
It's definitely a double-edged sword, I think. Public grief can feel intrusive sometimes, exposing vulnerability. But for a family like the Slatons, it can also mean this massive outpouring of support, transforming their private sorrow into something more collective.
Yeah.
It speaks to that strange but powerful bond between reality TV figures and their audience. Katie's story, while intensely personal, becomes this shared narrative. A narrative of loss, yes, but also of resilience, strength, community. It resonates with so many people who faced similar things.
So her legacy is carried not just by family, but by this wider community too.
Absolutely. Those touched by her story, through the show, through the GoFundMe, through Amanda's words, they become part of keeping her memory alive too.
Wow. Well, this deep dive into Katie Slaton's life, her fight, it's been incredibly poignant. We've talked about a life that was clearly cherished, a really fierce battle, fought with so much courage, and just the undeniable power of family and community when things get tough. So thank you for joining us as we tried to honor her memory and understand her story a bit better.
Yeah, and if we try to connect it to that bigger picture again, Katie's story, it's not just about sadness or loss. It's really a profound testament to human connection. In those moments of extreme vulnerability, that's when our shared humanity, our capacity for compassion, really shines through, doesn't it?
It really does.
Those acts of support, the GoFundMe, the prayers, Natalie's thank you, Amanda's tributes, that's where you see the strength, the resilience of the human spirit, the power of the bonds we share. It reminds us life is fragile, yes, but love and connection are incredibly strong.
Beautifully put. And maybe that leaves us with something for you, our listener, to think about. How do we, as individuals, as communities, how do we continue to honor these vibrant lives that are lost too soon? How do we make sure their spirit, their impact, lasts beyond the initial grief?
Good.
Maybe it's by sharing stories like we've tried to do today. Maybe it's offering support where we can. Or maybe it's just about consciously carrying forward the kind of love and acceptance that people like Katie apparently gave so freely. Something to ponder anyway, how you can keep that light shining.